alone, shorthanded. Here's a drive. He shoots and scores. Esslinger dinked it out of his shorts. The Samarzik, who's got a 3-point night going, sends it in front. Schulte top shelf. Oh, what a play. It's the Demons back with it again. Here's a drive. Top shelf. They score. Swagstew's in. He'll turn and fire. Top shelf. Oh, Ben Swagstew right where Grandma keeps the cookies. Came up big back door. Another. Oh, my goodness. Down into the splits goes Trey Sortland. Somebody call the cops. That was highway robbery. Here's a slop shot. Ekblad from the line. He shoots and scores. Here with Lewis. But Lewis turns and fires. He scored. Lead pass, in comes Hamsbaugh. He's all alone. He shoots and scores. Puck's on in front. Here's a drive, one-timer. Deal shoots. He scores. Swagstew's into the zone. Oh, he's dumped. How about the hit of the week coming there? The right-handed shot beats Conklin, sends it into the net. Mandan takes the 1-0 lead. Out in front, Morelli's got it. He'll turn and fire. He shoots and scores. Oh, boy, Mac Morelli with a twisted wrister. Slap shot from the line, tipped in front. How do you like the celebration from Ness? He's on the board with his 10th of the year, .31. Philly trying to go back to the level. Now Morelli's got a turn. He scores. Morelli went to the top shelf. Face off, won by the Magi. Luck takes it off the draw. Here's Philly, and oh, put it up, hit the pipe. Came in front of the net shot. Oh, they scored! Luck puts it home, and the Magicians have it. Luck is taken away by Thongfen again. Up to Isaiah Thongfen into the offensive zone. Thongfen turns. He scores! Thongfen ends the hockey game for the Magi. Magicians do it in overtime. It's Morelli from the corner, back up, top of the point. Aubrey scores! Top shelf! Oh, that was a howitzer! And Riley Aubrey put it into the top corner, right where Grandma keeps the cookies. His 22nd. Well, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? That's the question. The WDA hockey tournament is finally here after a wild ride of a North Dakota high school hockey season here in 21-22. And now 3 days will settle who the 4 teams are that are going to compete at the state high school hockey tournament in Fargo coming up in a week. You couldn't ask for much more out of what we're about to see at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck, North Dakota, where only 4 teams out of the 8 that qualified for the West Region Tournament will advance. Welcome in to our WDA Hockey Tournament Preview Show. I'm Nick Hulberg, one of the voices of the PSP Network. I'm jacked more than I've been in a long time for a WDA Hockey Tournament because this one's going to be a good one. I'm so jacked for it that we're actually going to be at the VFW Sports Center for the next 3 days, calling every single game of that WDA hockey tournament. I don't know that that's ever been done before, by the way, at the VFW Sports Center or the All Seasons Arena in Minot or the Pepsi Rink where somebody's shown up and done it. I'm going to attempt it this weekend. Luckily, we've got plenty of Red Bull. We'll be ready for it. I don't want to miss it. I don't think you should either. I think anybody that has any interest in North Dakota high school hockey on the western side of the state, get in the vehicle, drive to Bismarck, be at the VFW Sports Center. These kids are worth the price of admission, and this tournament is going to be off the hook. I'm telling you. If you can't make it, we'll have the digital radio call for you on the PSP Network. We did our best to get the video rights. The NDHSA shut us down in our attempts here this year. That's a whole nother story. We don't have time for that because we've got a lot to talk about here today in the preview show for the WDA Tournament 2022. 8 teams got into the West Region Tournament. 4 will advance. We're going to talk about those teams, the stat lines for each of those teams, the statistical leaders in goals against, penalty minutes, you name it. We're going to talk about the point producers to watch for at the tournament. We're going to break down the tournament and the games head-to-head, who's playing who, when they're playing, and then I'll make my predictions on who I think the top 4 will be going to the state tournament. We lost some friends maybe on that last year. Maybe it's something we should put to rest, but I've got a little different outlook on it here this year, and I think that there's an opportunity for a lot of teams to get in. And I've been saying it all year long, covering the West region of Minot High hockey, mainly here in the Magic City and around traveling with the Magi. This is a year you can win the West region tournament and not even make the state high school hockey tournament. Get ready for that. And that's what we're going to see at the WDA hockey tournament coming up at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck starting on Thursday. Are you ready? Let's dive into it. Time to take a look at the opening round of the tournament and the tournament bracket. Again, game number 1 comes tomorrow on Thursday at the VFW Sports Center at 11 a.m. Jamestown swept Mandan on the season 8-1 and 4-0, outscoring the Braves 12-1. But this is a matchup, again, that anything can happen. Jamestown's powerful, though, man. Let me tell you, the Blue Jays have the opening game of the tournament as the number 1 seed at 11 a.m. We'll have our pregame show for that one at about 10:40 tomorrow morning. The Demons and the Coyotes, a rematch from last year's quarterfinals. Now, this is a wild card and one that, I don't know, you might want to flip a coin on this one. They split this season. The Demons won 3-2. Williston won 4-3 in mismatching matchups there where each team took a victory by a goal. The Coyotes come in at number 5. The Demons come in at number 4. Buckle up tight for that one. That's the second game of the morning session, quote unquote, if you will. The first game of the night session, you've got number 2 Minot taking on number 7 Bottineau-Rugby. They only matched up one time this season. Minot won by a score of 6-2. That was at the Lumber Dome. But Bottineau's got some guys that can bury the puck and some pretty good goaltending. Bottineau might be a team that shocks some people in this tournament, and this opening round matchup with Minot certainly is not a gimme. And then 30 minutes after that matchup, another good one. Legacy and Century are going to go toe-to-toe. It was the Sabres that ended up with a 5-2 differential on the positive side after beating Troy Olson's Patriots 2-1 and 3-1 on the season, but nothing is guaranteed inside of West Region play, and certainly not at the tournament. Let's hop into the standings inside the West Region. How did we get to this point on the year? Where did we fall into line? How did we get here? Well, let's take a peek at it. And the WDA standings right now, as we take a look at the WDA standings, Jamestown and Minot finish with 47 points each. These are two teams that were pretty doggone good here in 21-22. Collectively, they only had 5 losses on the season in conference play. 2 of Minot's losses came in the shootout and in the extra session. Dickinson and Mandan were the teams to beat Minot, and those teams finish 8-9. Minot finishes number 1, tied for number 1. Goes to show you how competitive the league really was this year, meaning that it's going to be a wild one here this week, I'd have to assume. The Blue Jays are for real, though. 15-2 for them on the season. They haven't won a regular season crown since 1995. Congratulations to the Blue Jays. Congratulations to Matt Stockert. I was 10 years old the last time the Blue Jays won a region crown, and the last time they won the region tournament. Is this the year for them? If you're a betting man, this might be a time to place some money on the Blue Jays. They look pretty doggone good. Legacy comes in and takes 3rd inside of conference play in the WDA standings for the first time ever. Why is that? Well, this is the first year that the Sabres had sanctioned hockey inside the conference. How about Mario Lamoureux? He's going to be up for the Coach of the Year award, I'd have to assume. Some others across the region, Stockert and company, of course. But what Lamoureux did with Legacy this year, putting the Sabres at 11-7 inside of the conference for 32 points and finishing in the top 4, pretty doggone impressive if you ask me. The Demons from Bismarck finish in the 4th spot. 29 points for Wes Carr's crew, and a team that at the end of the year got banged up. They were without 7 of their top 9 players when it came down the stretch. Will they be healed and ready for the tournament? That is one of the big X factors of this entire tournament, to my mind, coming up here in the next 3 days. The Coyotes were the coach's pick to finish first. They were my pick to finish first inside the West region at the start of the year. And boy, did they falter just a bit. 27 points for them. They finish in the 5 spot. Don't take anything away from them. They are still salty. They're good. They're going to be a very tough out here at the WDA tournament. They went 10-8 with 3 overtime victories. Bismarck Century, a team that struggled. They've won 3 straight region championships. And this is a year that, on record, was not very good for them. But Troy Olson somehow found a way to lead the charge and get them back inside the top 6. Good job, Ole. 7-10 for them on the season, 26 points there. 25 points for Bottineau-Rugby, 8-9 for a record on the season. 21 points for Dickinson. Mandan ended up with 16, and Hayes and Beulah didn't register a point this year in West Region play. How about those numbers, though? You go from 32 down to 21. That's not a very big swing when you look at number 3 all the way down to number 8 on the year. It was a fun ride this year inside of the West Region. Big thanks again to Bob Gillen at NorthDakotaHighSchoolHockey.com. By the way, without Bob, we wouldn't have these numbers for you. NorthDakotaHighSchoolHockey.com. Thanks again for what Bob Gillen does. Great job, Bob, across the board. Time to look at the top producers inside the state and the West Region. Well, the West Region's the home to the number 1 scorer, not only in the west side of North Dakota, but in the state as well. It's the junior Nolan Nenow. I said it last year. I'll say it again. Watch him while you can. Leading the points with 27 goals, 27 assists for 54 total on the year. Somebody's going to be knocking on Nenow's door, and that somebody is going to be coming from the North American League or the USHL in a hurry, I'd have to assume. Nenow is a player that is certainly next level. Keep an eye on him at this WDA tournament. 43 points for Ashton Collings, number 4 in the state, number 2 in the West Region. He's a senior from Williston. A pair of Bottineau-Rugby Braves sit at 3 and 4 in the West, 5 and 8 in the state, and it's the sophomore Colton Getzlaff. 41 points for Getzlaff, 39 for Simons. And when you look at what Getzlaff has been able to do, he's another one of these kids that for some reason there's a well in Bottineau somewhere. I don't know if it's up in the hills or behind the golf course or where that thing is at. Probably in the back of the Lumberdome, I'd guess. There's a well there with special water, and they produce one of these guys, it seems like, every other year. And Getzlaff is that kid. 41 points for him on the season. Nice run for the sophomore. Hunter Nelson from Jamestown ends up with 39. Ekblad from Williston finishes number 6 in the West, number 15 in the state. One of the top defensive producers, 32 points for Ekblad. He's going to play at the Bismarck Bobcats in the North American Hockey League next year. He signed a tender to play there. Matt Olson from Bottineau-Rugby ends up with 30 points on the year. So does Jaden Luck from Minot, number 8 in the West, 19 in the state for Luck. Mac Morelli, one of the top producing young talents in the state, the leading freshman across the board. Got that right, only a freshman, 29 points for him. His brother playing in the American Hockey League for the Hershey Bears. Keep an eye on Morelli as he continues to climb through his high school ranks. 27 points for Roldson for Jamestown. There's your top 10. Aker, Butts, Jackson Bradley from Minot, Deal from Minot, Heisler from Bottineau, Thiessen from Williston, and the D-man Max Vig, only a sophomore from Century, round out the players that we have on this list. Even if they're not in the top 10, there's guys here that are next level and pretty doggone good. There's plenty of talent at this WDA tournament coming up this weekend, and the West Region's got plenty of guys that are fun to watch all season long. Some statistical categories to keep an eye on, especially at tournament time. The high-powered offense and the defenses that are shutting everybody down. Guess who's at the top of the list? It's Matt Stockert's group. The Blue Jays have 103 goals scored. They only surrendered 37. Unreal numbers for the Blue Jays this year. They have to be the favorite coming in and going to the state high school hockey tournament from the West Region, don't they? With numbers like that, you'd have to think so. The Coyotes put up 82 goals on the year. Minot High put up 79, so did Bottineau-Rugby. Legacy put up 66. Bismarck High put up 62. Century, 53, 51 for Dickinson. Mandan scored 48. Hayes and Beulah outscored on the year 153-32. On the goals against side, on the other side, it's Mandan that gave up 88. Dickinson gave up 83. Bottineau gave up 87, working from the bottom to the top of the goals against list. 74 for the Demons, 72 for Century. Conklin from Minot High did a nice job in the pipes for the Magi, only gave up 60. Miller from Legacy only gave up 58. Hagenau gave up 57 from Williston. And Hillstrom, again, only gave up 37 for the Jamestown Blue Jays. Some pretty good goaltenders in this tournament as well that we'll see coming up over the next 3 days. Let's take a look at penalties. These are important as well, especially come tournament time. Jamestown wins this category as well. They only took 71 penalties this season. the most disciplined team inside the league. Mandan right behind him at 72. Century at 77. Dickinson took 79. Bottineau-Rugby took 86. The Magi took 88. The North Stars at 92. Legacy took 99. And the Demons and the Coyotes each took 101 penalties on the season. And when you look at what they drew, Williston drew 73. Bismarck High drew 83. It was the Magi that led the penalties drawn category at 123. Jamestown drew 98. Those top two teams right there, you do not want to take penalties against the Blue Jays or the Magi, anybody for that matter. But teams like Minot and Jamestown that have the offensive threats and the scoring power that they do, at tournament time, those power plays will absolutely burn you. And that's one thing they're going to look to try to contain. Anybody will try to contain when they take on the top two teams in the West region and across the board. That will be a comment of emphasis, I'm sure, from each coach inside of the locker room heading into this tournament. There's a look at those numbers. Big thanks again to our friend Bob Gillen at NorthDakotaHighSchoolHockey.com. Bob, we love you, man. Thanks for doing what you do. 23 years as the state statistician. Bob Gillen, if you see him around the rink, he runs the Mesa Arena. If you see him at the WDA tournament, tell him thanks, will you? He certainly deserves a lot of credit for continuing to support local athletes and promoting high school hockey across the board in such a way that has really never been done before. Great job to Bob Gillen. All right, when we come back, we're going to dive into the matchups of day number one. We'll break down all four games. There's a lot to talk about coming up. I'll make my picks. I know I think's going to the state tournament later in the show as well. You can always tweet at us at Network PSP and let us know who you think the top four will be. I'd love to hear your thoughts heading into the tournament coming up this week. It's the WDA Hockey Tournament Preview Show on the PSP Network. Come back for more. We'll break down the matchups when we return.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar made from red grapes and no food coloring. And the right way to film it is in slow motion. Obviously. Because authentic ingredients make a sub above.
3 days of tournament coverage. We'll have each and every game on the PSP Network. I'll have the call of all 11 games, I believe it is, for the first day. For the second, that's 8, and then 3 more on Saturday. 11 is right, and I'll have the call of all of them. Nick Hulberg here on the PSP Network, not only for the preview show of the WDA Tournament 2022, but for the matchups at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck. I can't even wait. I'm telling you, the VFW is a primetime facility. I do have to say, I'd put a plug in that I think the Mesa Arena is the place to have that tournament, but that's another song and dance and another time and another conversation. But the VFW is great. The home of the Bismarck Bobcats. It's a great facility that ends up with a lot of atmosphere inside that venue. Looking forward to listening to Dan Durkee do his thing on the mic, as I am each and every time we're in Bismarck for these matchups. WDA tournament time, my favorite time of the year. What do you say we break down these matchups on day number one, shall we? Here we go. Let's start here with the first matchup of the tournament at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. Number 1 against number 8. It's the Blue Jays at 15-2. It's the Braves from Mandan at 6-12. Let's talk about Matt Stockert's crew first. 5 straight games they've had victories in. They've gone 13-14. 13 of their last 14 in the win column. They've only lost once in their last 14 games is what that means. And a team that has 20 state tournament appearances. Their last came in 2020. They took 5th at the state tournament that year. Last year they finished 3rd in the West region and then absolutely tanked with a capital T. I don't know how else to say it. They know it. Everybody knows it. They look for sweet revenge this year after winning their first regular season crown since 1995. And this is a team that looks to win their first tournament championship since 1995 as well. I was only 10 years old when that happened. It's been a while for the Blue Jays. Mandan has been to the state tournament 6 times. Their last came in 2019. They've gone 2-8 their last 10. They ride a 1-game win streak after they beat Dickinson to enter the tournament. This is a matchup that showcases some of the top talent in the West region. Nolan Nenau, 54 points. The asterisk next to that 54, well, he leads the state. 27 goals, 27 assists for him. Hunter Nelson with 39, 17 and 22. Roldson with 27. McLaughlin on the defensive end with 20 points. And Hillstrom, with the asterisk by his name in goal, has a .924 save percentage and a 194 goals against average. Those are the top numbers inside of the WDA. What more can you say about the Blue Jays? The best offensive threat and the best goaltender in the conference on the same team, and there's some X factors here. Well, Matt Stockert is in year number 18. He was the original Mr. Hockey. Stockert knows his way around the rink, and he's got some guys that can make it happen here in 21-22. They've outscored their opponents 103-37 on the year. Hard to bet against those guys here, isn't it? Certainly is. Killen for Mandan is the leader for the Mandan Braves. Hayter's got 15, Beechel's got 9, Johnner's got 9. Langang's got an 89% save percentage and a .367 goals against. About Mandan, well, they're well-disciplined. They're hard-working. They're going to be tough to beat, but let me tell you, this is going to be a hard out for anybody in the opening round against the Blue Jays, who are red hot right now. Jamestown, a favorite to win this tournament. That's game number 1. Let's move on to game number 2. This one should be the tournament's MVP for matchups on the opening day. It's the Coyotes at number 5. It's the Demons at number 4. Williston comes in at 10-8 overall, 8-9 for Bismarck High. There's some X factors to this one, though. Let's first talk about the history. State appearances, 37 for the Demons. Second most in the West, only behind Minot. 31 straight tournament appearances until last year when they lost to Bottineau at the Pepsi rink in Minot. They have a point to prove of getting back to the big dance. They've got a 1-game losing streak coming in, and they are banged up at the end of the regular season. How healthy will they be? That's the question mark. Hunter Aker, who in my mind is probably up for the Senior Athlete of the Year inside the West region. 26 points for him, 19 for Richardson. Haas is 17. Lentz has 10. They've got goaltending in Schaefer that isn't bad, 88%, and a .354 goals against average. This is a team that you can't count the Demons out. If they're healthy and if they're firing on even 90% cylinders, they're going to be tough to beat. And the reason I say that is they've got 8 WDA tournament titles since 2007. It's been either them or Bismarck Century. They're on their home ice. Look out for the Demons. They'll be tough to beat here at the tournament if they're healthy. I'm hoping that everybody in that lineup is healthy and ready to rock and roll for this WDA tournament. Let's talk about the Coyotes now. Got a 1-game win streak coming in. Only 9 state tournament appearances all time. They had a little bit of a hiatus there, about a 10-year break. They went last year, and their first trip since 2010. They get onto the map this year because of these guys that I'm going to show you next. Ashton Collings, 43 points for him, 19 goals on the season, 24 assists. In my mind, he's the real deal. A great player and fun to watch on the year. Ekblad going to play for the Bobcats, 32 points for him, 19 goals on the season from the back end. It's been interesting to see what the Coyotes and Tyler Junt did towards the end of the year. They moved Ekblad up to that top unit, and when they moved Ekblad up from the blue line up front, their scoring kind of took off like a rocket ship. Will they do that again at the WDA hockey tournament? Will that be part of the X's and O's for Tyler Junt? It's going to be fun to see the chess match in this matchup of game number 2 of the tournament to see if that's exactly what they do. Thiesen's got 23 points on the year. Bakken's got 19. They've got good goaltending. Hagenau now has been there for 3 seasons, 91% save percentage and a .262 goals against average. One of the better inside of the West region. Composure, guns, special teams. They have to be composed. They can't take 101 penalties coming into this tournament and continue on that pace at the tournament. It just isn't going to work for them. Neither of these teams. They're going to have to be disciplined, both of them. Special teams for the Coyotes will be a big role for them, and in my mind, their guns just have to score. Ekblad, Collins, Thiesen, they're going to have to be the guys that get the job done for the Coyotes, and they're going to have to score often in this WDA tournament. Don't forget, preseason number 1, I picked them there. I thought they were going to be a runaway train for that top spot. A lot of people argued, a lot of people agreed. All the coaches in the West agreed with me, and the Coyotes come in at number 5. Do you think they've got a point to prove? I would certainly think they do. That's going to be a good matchup with the Demons and the Coyotes tomorrow, 30 minutes after the 11 o'clock game. It's the WDA Hockey Tournament Preview Show. When we come back, we'll preview the final 2 games of the opening round. Minot takes on Bottineau. Legacy takes on Century. We'll touch on those matchups when we come back on the PSP Network. Get ready for a good one. The WDA hockey tournament is going to be a fun one here in 21-22. We'll come back. We'll preview the last two games of the day, and then we'll get ready to make our tournament picks on who we think is going to the big dance. Special edition of Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg. When we come back, more tournament breakdowns of the matchups in round one.
Carson, timeout.
Who calls a timeout in this game?
Me, I'm icing the kicker.
Really?
It'll give us more time to talk about First Western Bank and Trust,
Like our convenient online banking.
along with smart trust service options.
We're all about hometown service with bankers that know you and the community.
Okay, go ahead and kick.
I don't believe this.
First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us.
We're live at the PSP Network offices south of Minot. Studio offices out here. Big thanks to everybody for joining us this whole season for North Dakota High School Hockey on the PSP Network, by the way. Sure appreciate your support. If you haven't already done it, make sure to hit like and follow on the PSP Network platforms on social media. The more likes and follows, the more promotion we can give the athletes across the board in Western North Dakota, and that is our mission, promoting local athletes. We're going to do that at the WDA Hockey Tournament coming up this entire weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck. I'll have the call of every single game at the WDA Hockey Tournament. Should we drive back into it? Let's do it. Time to break down the final two games of the opening round. And these are going to be some games that are going to be worth the price of admission here as well. Let's start with game number 3. It's the Magi, the number 2 seed, taking on the Braves, the number 7 seed. Minot comes in at 12-13, 8-9 for Bottineau-Rugby. Let's start with the Magi. They've won 7 straight. 39 state tournament appearances. That's the most in the West region. But they haven't won a region tournament since 2006. It's a long time ago. I'm almost 37 years old. I'm going gray. That was back before I was even old enough to get into the Stadium Lodge. I'm telling you, that's been a while now. It's been a long time. 2006. Do they have a point to prove? I would certainly think the Magi want to be the number 1 seed heading into the big dance in Fargo for the state high school hockey tournament. Jaden Luck's going to be one of the guys that's going to lead them. He's a candidate for the Senior Athlete of the Year, I would almost have to think. 30 points for him. 14 goals, 16 assists on the season. The freshman, Mac Morelli, we talked about him being in the top 20 in the West region. 29 points for the freshman emerging on the high school scene. How about Jackson Bradley from the blue line, the D-man? 29 points on the season. 19 of those have come from the back end, and Bradley, obviously that math doesn't add up. Let me just make sure that we've got this right here. I'll tell you what it is right now. We do apologize. 5 plus 19 is not 29, but I'll tell you what it is right here, courtesy of ndhighschoolhockey.com. It should be 24 for Jackson Bradley. It is 5 and 19 for 24. 7 and 17 is right for Zach Deal. That's 24 as well. There's guys that can get the job done for the Magi. And the Bradley kid's one on the back end that everything has pretty much come through him on the blue line. Look for him in the tournament to be big for the Magi, and look for those other 3 listed as well to be big. How about Noah Conklin, though? He's going to have to be stand-up for the Magi if they want to go deep into this tournament and win a West Region tournament crown. Conklin comes in with an 89% save percentage and a 2.5 goals against average. Why do I like the Magi in this tournament? They've got depth. Multiple lines that can bury the puck for you. Multiple lines that can shut down their opponents and wear guys thin on the other side. Their power play's good, and they've got secondary scoring. They've got guys all across the board that can get the job done for them, burying the biscuit. How about Bottineau-Rugby? Well, Bottineau-Rugby's a team that's got some studs of their own. Maybe not as much depth or scoring talent up front, but a team that is always tough at tournament time. They come in with a 1-game win streak coming in. 16 state tournament appearances. They went last year for the first time since 2012. A couple buses from Bottineau came down to the Magic City. If you're watching this in Bottineau, do us all a favor. Please bring some more rabbits down, will ya? But here's the only thing. For all the high school kids out there, no knock on anybody, but you got to throw those on the ice after you score, not after the Magi score. That's just the way that works. Just put that in the ears of the high school kids that had the guts to bring in a Jackrabbit up to the Lumberdome. We haven't seen that in quite a while. Love the atmosphere up there in the Lumberdome, by the way. Getzlaff loves it as well. 41 points for him on the year. The young man is probably a next-level guy in my mind again, starting to see that emerging with 24 goals and 17 assists. According to the numbers, he certainly will be. Simons with 39 points on the season, 10-29. Matt Olson's been good for a few years now for Bottineau. A 30-point season is nothing to be ashamed of. 10 and 20 points for him. Heisler with 23, 13-10. And they've got a young man in goal by the name of Freeman with an 88% save percentage and a .344 goals against average. Top players need to score, and they need to be smart against the Magi and in this entire tournament. And not only smart with the way that they move the puck, but short shifts and making sure that they're getting their rest in when needed, because this tournament gets long when it's 3 days in a row and you run those top units the way that Bottineau does. You need to be smart across the board. They've got the ability, however. It's a team that lost to Minot again 6-2 at the Lumberdome earlier on this year. And again, if the high school kids are bringing rabbits to the VFW Sports Center, we love it. Just make sure to throw them on the ice after a Bottineau goal and not after a Magi goal. No knock on you guys at all. I'm telling you, my highlight of the year is seeing a rabbit on the ice again in the Lumberdome. Time for the final game of the tournament in the opening round. It's number 3 Legacy, number 6 Century. This is going to be a good one. 11-7 for Mario Lamoureux's team, 7-10 for Troy Olson. The new coach inside the league, the veteran coach inside the league, crosstown rivals, and the new rivalry. Legacy on a 1-game win streak. They don't have any state tournament appearances, of course, because this is year number 1. They've got some guys that can probably get them there, though. Here's who they are. Marcus Butts, 26 points for him, 16-10 on the season. Moore's got 19. Basie's got 19. Josiah Will's got 16. And Tyler Miller's got some pretty good numbers in goal. 91.2% save percentage and a .239 goals against average. They've got one of the better goaltender coaches, I'd have to assume, across the entire region. And I'm not just talking the WDA. I'm talking about USA Hockey's regions with Ryan Farragher, the former Bobcats standout and former draft pick, if I'm not mistaken, of the Anaheim Ducks. They do have Mario Lamoureux, their head coach. He's an X factor as well. This is a team, in my mind, that just does the little things right. They're not flashy. They don't put up a bunch of goals. They're not a team that does anything over the top or really catches your eye, but it's stick on puck. They block shots. They work very hard. It's a team that just focuses on making sure they're fine-tuned in the small areas, but they got to stay 5-on-5 in this entire tournament. That's going to be one of the keys in my mind for them. Let's talk now about the Patriots. This is a team that has 23 state tournament appearances, 15 straight, and they've won the last 3 region tournament championships. Keep that in mind at this tournament this year. Streaks are fun to be on, and guys like Troy Olson don't like to ruin those streaks. It's good for the program when you can go there for 16 straight times and win 4 straight titles. Is this a year that Century can do it? Well, they've got guys that probably can get the job done, but I think they're going to have some luck, and their top players are certainly going to have to be big for them in this tournament. Vig's one of them. The D-man has got 22 points on the year. He's only a youngster. Ronas with 18, Ritter with 13, Foslin with 13. Big question mark for me. Century's got 3 goaltenders, and on any given night, I don't know if there's a clear cut. I haven't talked to Troy Olson here in just a bit. I can't speak for them if they've got one lined up, but you look at the numbers, an 89% save percentage and a 3.3 goals against average collectively. Jangula's played in 6.8 games. Odegaard's played in 9.6, and Pengilly's played in 5.8, and none of those guys have really run away with the show by any means. So that is an X factor. Goaltending is going to be big for the Patriots here at the tournament. What about Century? Well, Troy Olson is certainly an ace in the hole. One of the better coaches in the state. We love that guy. He's fantastic to be around, and he knows how to coach and get everybody headed in the right direction. Is the boat sailing down the stream in the right direction heading into tournament time? We're going to find out. It's the Patriots that are on their home ice. They're one of the wild cards in this tournament. They're going to be tough to beat. They'll be a tough out without a doubt. Keep in mind, Legacies beat Century both times this year, 2-0 on the year against the Patriots. Well, there we've got a rundown of the games in the opening round of the WDA Hockey Tournament. When we come back to the WDA Hockey Tournament preview show we are going to make our picks on who we think is going to the state high school hockey tournament. I'll lock my doors. Please don't slash my tires. It's all for fun. Just trying to brew some conversation. But it is fun to have the conversations on who could go, why they could go. When you break it down and look at it, tweet at us at Network PSP and let us know who you think will go to the North Dakota State High School Hockey Tournament. We'll do that when we come back. It's the WDA Hockey Tournament Preview Show on the special edition of Ice Time here from the PSP Network studio offices. Don't go anywhere. We'll make our picks when we return.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar made from red grapes and no food coloring. And the right way to film it is in slow motion. Obviously. Because authentic ingredients make a sub above.
VFW Sports Center in Bismarck. Primetime location for the WDA hockey tournament coming up. I'll just say it one more time. I wish that it was at the Pepsi rink at Mesa Arena. That venue is just so fantastic. Nothing against the VFW. I love going to Bismarck. Schlotsky's Deli, all the good places down there. It's fantastic stuff. There's no doubt about it. And it's fun to see those teams on their home ice as well. When you've got Legacy, Bismarck, Century, and Mandan all right there, the crowds certainly are pretty good. And, of course, these other towns are going to travel well, I'd have to assume, with the Coyotes being a team that has some pretty good chance of getting back into the tournament. Jamestown, the favorite. And you look at a team like Bottineau that traditionally travels better than anybody else. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a while since anybody else besides Bismarck High or Century has won this tournament. Is this the year that somebody besides one of those two teams gets the job done on Saturday afternoon around 4 o'clock? Let's find out. Let's make our picks now here on the PSP Network. Like I said, please don't come after us. Don't slash any tires or get too aggressive. This is all for fun, but it is a fun conversation to have. Where will they fall into place in 21-22? Are you ready for my picks? They don't mean anything other than a conversation starter across the board. I've got the Bismarck High Demons being a team that I had picked in my original preview show this year for the whole regular season. I said the Demons were going to go back. Is Aker healthy? Is Raider healthy? Those guys and the rest of them, there were 7 of their top 9, I believe, that were out at the end of the regular season. If the Demons are healthy, if they can utilize the guys and be healthy enough, I've got Bismarck going back to the tournament. Here's the kicker. The Coyotes are right in the mix as well. And if the Demons aren't healthy, I've got the Coyotes going. And all you people sitting out there going, what kind of cop-out is this? Are you going to put everybody on this list? Well, I am, because if the Demons are healthy, they're my pick. If the Demons aren't healthy, I've got the Coyotes as my pick. If the Coyotes can't stay composed and disciplined at this tournament, I've got Bottineau-Rugby as my number 4 pick, and that's how I'm going. I see that the Braves are going to be the underdog story again here this year in 21-22. I'm sure there's people throwing stuff at the TV right now, but if the Demons can't stay healthy, and if Williston can't stay composed, it's Bottineau that's going to be the team that takes the number 4 spot. Plenty can happen, of course. Bismarck High's healthy, and Williston goes off and ends up having Ekblad pick up a hat trick every game. Obviously, we're going to have a whole turn of tides here that could come down the stream. You look at the number 3 spot, I don't know. I like Legacy. Again, the little things, they do them right. They're a team that just seems like that kind of year where the story couldn't be written any better, that they would be one of the teams that qualifies for the state tournament under the direction of Mario Lamoureux in year number 1. I like Legacy going. They're not a lock. None of these teams are a lock, by the way. Not a shoo-in my mind by any means, but if I had to bet somebody a Pepsi on it, this is the way I would go. The number 2 spot, I've got the Magi at number 2. Who do I have as number 1? Well, it's the Jamestown Blue Jays, and for a good reason. Jamestown's on a heater right now. I think you're going to see Jamestown and Minot in the WDA championship game coming up on Saturday afternoon. We'll have the call for that one coming up on the PSP Network. That's going to be a wild time on the PSP Network for sure. Legacy, Bottineau-Rugby, Williston, the Demons, Mandan's still in the mix. Of course, Century's always going to be there with Troy Olsen across the board. You never know what you're gonna get. It's gonna be a fantastic tournament across the board. Got a special guest coming into the studio on the PSP Network. We haven't done Ice Time a whole lot here in 21-22. That's because we've been completely busy on the PSP Network. Come on over here, bud. We'll show you why we haven't been. Got our newest helper on the PSP Network. You want to say hi to everybody, buddy? Who's going to win the WDA tournament, pal? Who's going to win it? The Blue Jays? The Magi? The Demons? It's going to be fun. Children of all ages are welcome there, of course, as always. That's going to do it for us on the PSP Network here for the WDA Tournament Preview Show. Get ready for a good one. We'll have the call of each and every one on the PSP Network. Join us. I hope you do. We'll start on Thursday morning, coming up at 10:40 on the PSP Network with the Shields pregame show for Jamestown taking on Mandan. We'll have coverage of every single game. Hope you join us there. It's going to be a fun ride here in 21-22 at the tournament. 4 teams out of the West region will get in. 4 other teams are going to go home and get ready for baseball season. Hope you're ready for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us here for Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg, on the PSP Network and the WDA Hockey Tournament Preview Show. You want to say peace out, man? Okay, that will do it from the PSP Network studio offices. See you tomorrow at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck.
The right way to top a sub is with real red wine vinegar made from red grapes and no food coloring. And the right way to film it is in slow motion. Obviously. Because authentic ingredients make a sub above.